enter the second episode in the Broken Blade series, this one called The Path of Separation. Immediately picking up where our last episode left off, and thankfully, I have notes here so I can remember how to pronounce some of these characters' names for once. Right as the episode begins, Raigard walks out to try and talk with Zess. So, the voice box in Raigard's golem is not functioning properly. Raigard has to step out and try and talk some sense into Zess and see if both nations can try and compromise. The only compromise is Krishna having to give up to the Commonwealth, but that means the death of Hodor and Sigyn. Basically, the bloodline completely ends. But not going to be easy for that as we enter our battle for this film, which it's Raigard against the person we saw from the first part that was going after Hodor, whose name is Lee. He fights against Lee and manages to cut down a golem's arm, but also someone who was trying to protect Raigard shoots down her foot from her machine, and she falls to the ground but winds up shooting in one more bullet, but not really hitting Raigard. So no longer being able to fight and not wanting to be a prisoner, Lee basically takes it upon her to commit suicide, which affects the Commonwealth group, especially one of her friends, Cleo. Now, Lee gave Cleo a lot of crap for being a terrible shooter and everything, but this may be a one thing where she's like, I will remember this event. So in the current mindset, Raigard has one thought of deciding to leave because he does not want to be a part of this war, but B, he also wants to try and have everyone come together in peace. But, you know war, it never changes. So he makes a decision to leave Krishna, but not before visiting the guy that saved his life. General Balder comes in and says, you know, despite the fact you're an unsorcerer, he did a lot to help you out in that situation. Meaning that he taught Raigard as well as his brother manual labor. But Hodor catches up with Raigard and hands him a small amount of allowance that he had when they were in the academy. Raigard was having issues with his tuition, a nice little farewell to him. But in the end, Raigard stands still, where he remembers one small piece of his father's memory. That being, it's okay to run away from some issues. But Raigard decides to stay in Krishna, be knighted, and operate the golem known as Delphine, which also had a small little mysterious text inscribed into it. And that text read, "Fight Destiny." No, seriously, that's actually what was inscribed onto it. Fight Destiny by the ancients. But whatever. He's knighted and he's operating the ancient golem Delphine, and that's episode 2. That was quite the episode. It still pushes further along the world building. Of course, this obviously means since Raigard is on one side of this war with Zess on the Commonwealth, which at this point meaning they're now moral enemies, and that's another hard part of friendship you have to face in certain situations. The action, really cool. Production IG definitely knows how to handle action and CGI, all this fun stuff. But there we go. Broken Blade 2, The Path of Separation. I hope by the next episode we get something good. Now with Raigard knighted, this should be interesting to see how all of it turns out in the end. Who knows what episode 3 has in store?